It all begins in the city of Holland, a seemingly charming place known for being surrounded by tulips and having well-established traditions. Here we meet Nancy, a teacher and housewife. Nancy is desperate because one of her earrings is missing. Our protagonist confronts her nanny to see if she has taken it. The girl denies stealing it, but this is not enough for Nancy, who ends up firing her. Her son Harry, who witnessed the whole thing, feels that what she did was unfair, so he ends up yelling at her, not caring about being punished. At night, Fred, Nancy's husband, who is an optometrist, arrives. The father, aware of what happened, talks to his son so he will apologize to his mother. All this happens while father and son work on the huge diorama Freddie has of the entire city of Holland. The Vandergrift family seems to have the perfect life. While having dinner, Harry takes the opportunity to apologize to his mother, and Freddie mentions that he will have a work trip, something that usually happens frequently. After finishing his lessons with his students, Nancy meets with her friend and colleague Dave, who listens carefully to everything she says. Help me reach my goal of 10 likes and 5 comments. Comment as much as you want. The goal is to achieve it, as he is in love with our protagonist. When Nancy goes to pick up her son, he asks for permission to stay at his friend's house. Our protagonist feels compelled to accept because her son is still upset about losing his nanny. At night, Nancy, who is alone at home, decides to call the hotel where her husband is staying, but Freddie never answers. When she recalls her lost earring, she begins to search for it all over the house. For a moment, she stops to look at the model her husband has of the city. In one of the drawers, she finds Polaroid film cartridges, which seems strange to her as they don't have a camera for that type of cartridge. The next day, while she is about to sew a button on her husband's pants, she discovers the ticket for a fine, raising suspicions in Nancy that her husband is lying to her about where he travels. She tells Dave about it because our protagonist is convinced that Freddie must have a lover. Doubts increasingly torment our protagonist, who cannot focus on the things she is doing. All her suspicions grow stronger when her husband mentions another work trip, which this time will take more days. Freddie notices her discomfort and asks if something is wrong, but Nancy doesn't mention anything about her suspicions. At night, our protagonist has nightmares where she sees her son dressed for the Tulip Festival. The realism of the dream makes it feel as if our protagonist is trapped in the city of Holland. Unable to deal with the mistrust anymore, Nancy asks Dave to help her enter her husband's office. Since she knows her friend is about to have an eye checkup, she begs him to leave the bathroom window open so she can enter because she couldn't find any proof of his infidelity and believes he must have it hidden in his office. After much insistence, Dave finally agrees. At night, our protagonist informs Fred that she plans to go out with her friend in the coming days, something her husband finds strange because it will be a long and expensive trip, but he doesn't oppose it. As planned, Dave attends his appointment with Fred. After an eye checkup, the professor asks to go to the bathroom. There, he takes the opportunity to leave the window open. Continuing with the plan, he meets Nancy. Dave wants to back out because he doesn't want to get into trouble, but our protagonist convinces him, and even a kiss happens between the colleagues. Later that night, Nancy sneaks into her husband's office. There, she finds secret credit cards, a strange Polaroid photo album, and other items that increase her suspicions. Unfortunately for her, Fred returns to the office to handle an emergency related to the son of the friend she was supposedly traveling with. Our protagonist, informed by Dave, manages to escape just in time before her husband finds her in his office, although she can't avoid Fred finding out that she lied about her supposed trip. Nancy, euphoric from all the adrenaline she experienced, passionately kisses Dave, feeling no remorse for her husband because now she is more than sure he's cheating on her. Just as they are about to go to bed, they are interrupted by a father who throws objects at Dave's window. The professor goes out to confront him, and this only makes Nancy fall for him even more due to the way he defends himself. After thinking it over, Dave makes it clear to Nancy that he cannot start a relationship with her until she separates from Fred. Upon hearing this, our protagonist tells him she can't do that to her son, as he would never forgive her. Nancy returns home at dawn and has the same recurring nightmare, as if she had already lived all of that before. Fred wakes her up to ask her how her trip went. Without hesitation, Nancy replies that everything went well and that she is tired. Freddie knows she is lying, but he says nothing. Nancy, knowing that her husband made an expensive purchase at a jewelry store using the credit card he kept hidden in his office, is ready to end her marriage. Without expecting it, she finds her lost earring in a container of buttons, leaving her completely bewildered. When she enters her room, she finds a jewelry box as a gift from Fred. This makes her change her mind, as her husband appears, mentioning that he will not ask why she lied about her trip, because he prefers to restart everything as always and leave the problems behind. Nancy apologizes for doubting him, tells him that she regrets having caused that behavior, and suggests starting over, as she is willing to fight for her marriage and show him that she is the wife he deserves. Nancy returns to her daily life, pretending to still have the perfect family and keeping away from Dave. However, her resolve breaks because she can't stop thinking about her colleague. So one night, she calls Dave to tell him that she has decided to leave Fred. In response, the professor warns her that if she chooses to start a new life with him, they will both be judged by the town, and she could lose her son Harry because Fred is the pillar of the community and even a deacon at the church. Nancy knows this is true, but still insists on leaving her husband. In response, Dave proposes a plan in which Fred will be exposed with evidence that he has a lover, which will make their separation easier so that they can live their love, and in this way, Nancy won't lose her son. With the plan in motion, Nancy and Dave now follow Fred on his business trip to take photos that prove his infidelity. Our protagonist takes the opportunity to infiltrate her husband's room while he has drinks at the bar, where he's being watched by Dave. Unfortunately for Nancy, the only thing she finds is a box of underwear, some handcuffs, and dog food, which is not enough proof that he is cheating on her with someone else. When Fred returns to his room, he almost discovers our protagonist, who luckily manages to escape just in time. Nancy is forced to return for her son, so Dave offers to continue spying on Fred until they get the evidence they need to be together. On her way back home, Nancy discovers that Fred is hiding something in the diorama that he spends the most time with. Upon finding postal codes of city plans, Nancy uncovers that these numbers are related to the murders of many women, and that the houses of Fred's victims in the model were marked every time he took their lives. Meanwhile, Dave follows Fred to a remote cabin where he meets with a woman. Our protagonist is reluctant to believe that her husband is a serial killer, but unfortunately, all the evidence points to him as the culprit. When she intended to warn Dave that her husband is a dangerous man, the professor doesn't answer her call and infiltrates the cabin where Fred is with a woman. While trying to aggravate the infidelity, Dave is left horrified by the terrible scene Fred is in. The professor tries to escape, but Fred chases him to a lake dock. After engaging in a fight, Dave stabs Fred, who eventually falls into the lake. The next day, Dave tells Nancy that she no longer has to worry because she's safe, and that her husband decided to flee when confronted. Nancy believes him, but considers that it's still not the time to run away together. She must wait for the Tulip Festival to avoid raising suspicion. She also asks Dave not to reveal anything about what Fred did, to keep everything hidden so as not to ruin their son Harry's life, and that when the festival is over, they can start their love from scratch, something that Dave completely agrees with. They both continue with their daily lives, while Nancy remains calm in her own world, and Dave's nightmares with Fred begin to torment him. Finally, the Tulip Festival takes place, where Nancy receives the comment that her husband is at the location. After the presentation of her son, she immediately goes to find him. On the way, she runs into Dave, who has a weapon and keeps repeating that Fred is at the festival. Our protagonist, frightened, grabs her son and goes to a motel. Dave follows her and confesses the truth, that he had a fight with Fred at the lake and thought he had sent him to a better place. During the argument, Dave hits his head and gets injured. When Nancy goes to look for her son, she realizes that Harry is not there. When searching outside, she sees him with his father. Fred confronts Nancy for having deceived him, mentioning that even so, he is willing to restart everything so they can still be the perfect family. Fred forces Nancy to get in the car and return home. Her frightened son doesn't know what's going on. Nancy, in response to this, tells her son to run while she faces her husband, whom she hits mercilessly and shoots in order to escape from him. Nancy, in shock from everything that has happened, along with her son, goes back in search of Dave, but he is no longer at the place where she left him, leading to the possibility that he might have chosen to escape from Holland. Although in the later scenes, Nancy questions whether everything that happened was real, showing a confusing ending with an open possibility for a second part. And that's how this story ends. More videos created just for you on the screen. If you like this channel, please subscribe.